Toys R Us is a store that most of us have gone to in our early childhood to shop for the newest Lego sets or go holiday shopping. It truly is a shame that they were forced to file for bankruptcy just last year as they were once the market leaders. Recently, however, there has been news of Toys R Us trying to come back under a new brand name. So why did Toys R Us fail in the first place, and can they come back? Make sure to stick around till the end to find out. Welcome to Hearty Sotheby's. So it all started when Charles Lazarus came back from World War II and was settling down in 1948. World War II had just ended and Lazarus noticed that people were coming back, settling down and having kids. He had a hunch that there was going to be a lot more demand for baby-related items, so he founded a baby furniture retailer named Children's Supermart in Washington, D.C. in 1948. He had a lot of requests for baby toys, and once he added baby toys, he got a lot of requests to add children's toys, and when he added that, he kept getting more requests for more and more toys. As a result, he opened the first Toys R Us, which is dedicated to toys and not furniture, in Rockville, Maryland. He designed the logo himself and put the R backwards in an effort to make it look like a kid wrote it. This was the first big box toy store. Most toy stores until now were small family-run stores. They would have display cases and decorative interiors, but Toys R Us had concrete or tile floors. And Toys R Us had rows of toys laid out next to each other, more like a grocery store than a toy store. Throughout the 60s and 70s, they had some of the most iconic toys of all time, like Mr. Potato Head and Barbie. And Lazarus had a huge advantage over the competition as he would buy such a high volume of units, and as a result, he could get it for a lot cheaper than his competitors. Retail historians describe this as the first category killer, a business that is so dominating that it drives out all other competition. TVs heavily assisted this rapid growth of Toys R Us as households were quickly adopting TVs. This allowed Toys R Us to directly advertise to consumers with their lovable mascot, Jeffrey the Giraffe. They were so successful that they completely revolutionized the industry and expanded it very much. In 1978, the toy industry was only worth $500 million, but by 1990, it was worth over $12 billion. At their height, Toys R Us had 18,000 different toys and 1,450 locations around the world. They literally controlled 25% of the toy market. And problems started right when Charles Lazarus stepped down in 1994. The new team started to cut back on the variety of toys as they didn't want to oversaturate the market. With the rise of e-commerce and changing toy tastes, Toys R Us significantly cut back on the variety of toys. And it wasn't just Amazon, it was also Target and Walmart who were expanding their toy aisles in their stores and expanding their online presence as well. And this is why Toys R Us reduced their offering. They wanted to focus on specific toys and undercut the competitors. And despite these efforts, Target and Walmart were able to offer even bigger discounts on their toys, as toys were not their main business. Walmart and Target don't need to profit on their toys. They don't even need to profit at all with toys. They just need the toys to get customers into the store and buy other things from which they profit on. But for Toys R Us, their whole store is toys, so when they cut back the price of the toys, their whole revenue decreases. This was clearly not good, and Toys R Us knew it as well, so they completely changed strategies. They not only reduced the variety of toy offerings, but also stuck to higher prices. See, the whole goal with this was that Target and Walmart would quickly run out of stock with toys as they would heavily discount their toys. Toys R Us was targeting the late holiday buyer who was worried about ordering it online as they thought that it might arrive late. But over the last couple of years, consumer confidence in buying online has significantly increased as they are more used to buying online. And this absolutely destroyed their holiday sales. In fact, they never even released their holiday sales for 2017. They don't have to as they are a private company, but they have been continuing this tradition for several decades. That just shows how disappointing they probably were. Toys R Us lost customers by trying to focus on cheaper prices instead of the experience that they were offering and that people were used to. And this made it so that there was nothing unique about Toys R Us when compared to other retailers. Their next biggest problem was a lack of innovation in technology. Kids nowadays are growing up with mobile phones and computers and playing games all day. But Toys R Us didn't respond to this change and cater to the new demographic. They added one more aisle in their store that had technology, but they didn't adapt to technology. They simply included it in their stores. Now, many people like to claim that Toys R Us completely died mainly due to Amazon and their lack of online presence. But this is actually not the main reason, but it is a relevant reason. They didn't keep up with the generational shift of online consumerism. You have to remember that children are not buying toys, it's parents that are buying toys, and they have to cater to what parents want, which is an online experience with convenience. And if you're not going to do that, then your stores must stick out, and there must be a compelling reason for people to actually come to your physical stores. But Toys R Us had just recently reduced the variety of their toys and were trying to compete in price. Brick and mortar stores should not and cannot compete in price, they just simply have more expenses. Online prices will always be cheaper, but retail stores should try to match prices. The prices don't have to be cheaper, just about the same or a little bit more is fine as well. Price should not be the reason that people come to your stores, it should be due to the experience. When people are coming to your stores for cheaper prices, you're really not building any brand loyalty. They're only coming for the cheaper prices. But if they were willing to get into their car and come to your store and buy the product that's pretty much the same price as online, now they're coming for the experience and you're building brand loyalty. So it's not the rise of Amazon and the lack of their online presence that killed them. It's that Toys R Us stores lacked differentiation from online retailers and there was no incentive to come to physical stores. Since Bain Capital and other firms took the company public in 2005, they've had a huge debt load. When they were approaching bankruptcy in 2017, they had upwards of $5 billion in liabilities. And they couldn't have chosen a worse time to file for bankruptcy. I mean, they were doing bad for a while, but originally their plan was just to downsize the stores even after bankruptcy. But by filing for bankruptcy in September, this completely ruined their plans as it completely ruined the 2017 holiday season. Until then, customers didn't know, and even if they did, they really didn't care if Toys R Us was doing bad. It really didn't affect them. But when they filed for bankruptcy, it was all over the news and everyone knew that Toys R Us was going out of business. And this really hurt consumer confidence. They didn't know if they could buy toys and return it later, and they simply did not know what was going to happen to Toys R Us. As a result, many people turned to other stores for toys in the 2017 holiday season, and this took a heavy toll on Toys R Us. Maybe they could have gone public a few years ago in order to raise money and handle the debt. Or they could have at least filed for bankruptcy after the holiday season in January. But you really can't blame Toys R Us either, as it really was out of their control. But in the end, this unfortunate timing forced Toys R Us to close all of their stores in the US. Overall, Toys R Us failed because they were moving away from what made them special in the first place, which was their experience. This was all in an effort to undercut competitors, which in the first place wasn't that successful, and ate into their profit margins, which made it very tough to handle their very large debt, and eventually that killed them. Instead, they should have kept Toys R Us a unique experience, getting people to come to Toys R Us for their experience, not for cheaper toys. And yes, they could have expanded their online presence, which would have helped them as well. This is why Toys R Us failed, but will they be able to come back? Old Toys R Us executives are trying to re-emerge with a new brand in the holiday season of 2019. The old executive of Toys R Us, Richard Berry, is now the new CEO of the new company, True Kids brand. It's spelled TRU, not TRUE, which is probably reminiscent of the first letters of Toys R Us. Richard told the press that they were exploring various options to try to come back, from freestanding stores to stores within stores. And he said that this time, e-commerce would play a central role in their business. In 2018, even after bankruptcy, Toys R Us was able to generate $3 billion in revenue. Based off of that, Richard claims that up to 40 to 50% of Toys R Us's market share is still up for grabs. Target and Walmart are expanding their toy aisles, but he thinks that there will still be significant market share left for them. And he said that this time, they're really focusing on the experience of the store, making much smaller stores with only 10,000 square feet compared to the old Toys R Us stores, which are around 40,000 square feet. This is very ironic, as Toys R Us became a category killer by moving away from these types of stores. Now initially, Toys R Us was a different experience in itself, but as for size, this is ironic. They have been recently contacting toy makers and apparently they have received strong support for this effort. So it does seem like they are making a re-entry into the market, but will it work? Now, at the beginning, there will be huge crowds that come to the store as many people are nostalgic about the company and want to see how it changed. But this really doesn't show anything. It's about how well they can retain these customers. They need to convince customers on this first visit that it is worth coming to their store for their experience. And clearly, they are trying to do this, but we will only know how effective this is when the stores actually open. They need to match the prices of online retailers, and their experience is what should drive people to actually drive to their physical stores. And a good online presence would obviously help as well. And the thing is, in the past, many other companies have resurrected from the dead. For example, General Motors went bankrupt right around 10 years ago, but now they're doing pretty well. Nintendo almost died with their flop Wii U, but they are really making a comeback with the Nintendo Switch. So it is definitely possible for Toys R Us to come back, but it will be an uphill battle. Toys R Us used to be the go-to place to get toys in the late 1900s and early 2000s. But recently, there hasn't been any reason to go to Toys R Us as they don't offer anything unique. As a result, traffic really slowed down for Toys R Us, and this along with their massive debt eventually killed the company, forcing them to file for bankruptcy. But there is hope. Old executives have started a new brand trying to bring back Toys R Us. And they are trying to fix everything that they messed up the first time around. But will these efforts actually pay out? Only time will tell. But that's all I have for you guys on Toys R Us. Make sure to comment down below what company you would like me to cover next. Also, if you guys like this video, then make sure to drop a like and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more videos just like this one. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.